What's up, Lions? Welcome back to Lions Day Podcast. Today, we're your hosts, Tau'Veaz Briggs and Reece Robinson.
Yes, sir.
And we got a very special guest with us, man. This man needs no introduction. He's done so much for us and a few other students here at Crossover, man. It was a pleasure meeting him when I met him, and it's been a pleasure knowing him. This is Cedric Ikpo.
What's up? Thank you for having me. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. How you
Sir,
How you
sir.
doing today?
Yeah, we all right. It was a blistering 35 degrees today. It's
man.
warming up.
It's warming up.
Closing on the back half of the week, so just trying to finish strong. But all's good on my side. Y'all good?
Yes,
I'm
sir,
good.
yes, sir.
My arms,
Yeah,
they're a little sore, but
walking gingerly today, but
yeah, we go recover eventually. You
Good,
feel me?
good.
But we got a couple questions for you, man.
talk to me. I'm excited.
Just a little some, not too much. Okay. So first little question that we got for you. Just like, not even a question, just like introduce yourself. Like, tell us the background of like how you came to Tulsa and like what you do here.
Who is Cedric Ikpo, man?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a deep question. I'll try to keep it light. So I've been in Tulsa now. So next month makes it 3 years, which is crazy to think about. Like, I feel like it's been a blink of an eye, but at the same time, I feel like it's just very normal to me too. Live here, got a house here, got married here last summer, got a dog. So
Okay.
we're doing the whole thing. But this is actually, so I've been in like working in sports for the last 14 years. This is actually my 14th season, the part of the NBA family. Started as an intern with the Rockets. Well, let me back up. I majored in sports management and marketing, so double majored. And then I'm an old head, so this is back in 2009 when I graduated.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I was
Before
waiting for
Chief
that
Keef.
reaction.
I was 2 years old.
Damn, you young child. No, I'm kidding, man. You're my guy. But 2009 graduated college, and then moved back down to Houston where I interned with the Houston Rockets. Before that, I actually worked game day with the Texans, and then got my first paid job. So those previous opportunities were either unpaid internships or just like part-time work. And then I got my first paid full-time gig with the San Antonio Spurs. So I packed up my mom's minivan, moved to San Antonio, lived out there for 7 years, worked 6.5 years with the San Antonio Spurs in their community relations department. And then left to be a fourth grade math teacher at a charter school in San Antonio before the NBA league office reached out to me about an opportunity. So I moved to New York with my girlfriend at the time, who's not my wife, but moved to New York, spent 4.5 years up there with the league office, leading some of their social responsibility, NBA cares, some international work, before I heard about this opportunity in Thunder Fellows. It was just a concept at the time. It was just an idea to launch this program, and I put my name in the hat. And the Thunder organization were silly enough to give me the opportunity, and here I am. So 3 years later.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
man. We're gonna get into a little bit of all of that,
Yeah.
but I like to start at your straight out of high school. Very humble man, because I did a little research on you, man, and you did an overseas internship in, I believe, what was it, Europe?
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, my guy Reece doing some digging. I like that.
Yeah,
I like
man.
that.
Yeah, man. You gotta know, man.
Yes, sir. That's good. Proud of that. Yeah. So this was in college. We had a study abroad program in England. So that's you guys are now at a time, both juniors, right?
Sir.
Yeah. So you're at a time where you're starting to think about where you want to go to school. And when you look at when you're doing research on universities, it's important to know, like, do their majors in like are they prestigious schools? Do the majors align with what you want to do? Things like that. But then there's also cool things like social activities, study abroad programs. My university had a study abroad program. They bought this what's called a manor house, which is pretty much a castle. So if you look up Harlexton College, you'll see the pictures of it. It looks like straight up a castle. It's got like a mile long road from the front gate to the actual building itself. It was like this really rich dude, forgetting his name now, but it's really, really rich guy owned this place before the university bought it out. So we did classes in like the grand ballroom where the ceilings were painted, had all those things. They had lion statues all over the facility and everything. Our dorm rooms were the workers' quarters. So it was like this crazy experience. Monday through Thursday were classes. So every weekend was a long weekend. So it was geared around travel. In Europe, like you can take a 15-minute flight, be from England and go to Spain. You'd be in the snow, and then you're in like, warm tropical weather. Take another, an hour flight, you're in the Czech Republic. And so while I was there for that semester, I visited 9 different countries.
Oh wow.
I interned with a football club in England. And so, all these things just sort of take advantage of these opportunities that I was given. I could have just stayed on campus and stayed in the dorm room, but I made it a point to, squeeze out everything that I could from my college experience. And Harleston and study abroad was one of those.
Wow.
So,
So
you got something?
yeah, this is just a follow up on that. So the football club that you worked with was called Knots, right?
Notts County, yeah.
Yeah, Knots County. So was this your first job, like a little taste of sports? And did you know that? Sorry.
No,
Did
it's
you
good.
know that this was like the route that you wanted to take when you were working with the Knots County Football Club?
Good question. So I'm Nigerian. Both my parents Nigerian. They both came to the U.S. or came to North America in the 70s. And if y'all know anything about Nigerians, they want you to be 3 things: lawyer, doctor, or engineer. That's it. There's no other option. And so to get a job in sports, which is sort of a newer avenue for people to consider, it was like unheard of. My folks were not about that. And so as a sort of a compromise, I decided to major in sports medicine when I went to school. 2 weeks into my college experience, I was working with cadavers. If y'all know what a cadaver is, it's a dead body, like human body. We had to like do we called them practicums in the training room, where you'd watch like ACL tears, compound fractures, and all these other things that I'm way too squeamish for. And so I knew right out the gate that this wasn't for me. I still wanted to be in sports. And so I changed majors right away, finished out the semester with athletic training and physical therapy, but then I ended up switching to the business side of sports. And so from then on, those last 7 semesters was focused on that. And so a couple summers I spent interning with the university soccer club and the soccer team and the athletics department. So I always knew that was sort of the field that I want to go down. And then it wasn't until I had already done those 2 internships that I got the Notts County internship. By the way, that internship wasn't one that was like, it wasn't a posted position or anything. I knew that I was going to be in Europe. Like you had to set this, get all your shots and everything taken care of like well in advance, like months in advance. And so once I knew that I would be there, I looked at soccer clubs that were nearby. I was like, how can I, again, squeeze everything that I can out of this? And so I just started reaching out to different clubs. And I was like, hey, do y'all need help? Can y'all, can I take advantage, or can I use you guys to give myself experience? They're like, what can you do? I was like, whatever y'all need me to do. And so I literally I was helping them for all types of things, including like making different advertisements on Microsoft Publisher. I didn't know how to use Photoshop, so I was just making things happen, And so, but that was an excellent experience because I had to take a train 45 minutes from Grantham, Lincolnshire, which is where I stayed, which is where our campus was, all the way to Nottingham. People say Nottingham,
What?
Nottingham. Yeah, so that's what the Notts is. It's not Nottingham County.
Oh wow.
So interesting, like people would be like, all my other classmates and stuff would be, they'll be out doing what college students do,
Right.
and then and I'd be up early in the morning, suit and tie, and they're like, they see me like they're shaking, they're still in their PJs, they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm making moves, and so so I'd take this train 45 minutes each way, do that Tuesdays and Thursdays, and come back, and I was getting internship credit too. But yeah.
Yeah,
So
man.
would you say there was any resilience that you had to like put on yourself, like to do that for yourself, knowing that like this could be like, if you mess up, this could be like a major setback?
I think throughout my career and life, I've had to deal with resilience. I don't think that internship was one of them necessarily, because I think to me, resilience is like defined as, overcoming adversity and challenges and, being knocked down and then, picking yourself back up. I don't see myself, I didn't see that as one of those, maybe because I've been through much tougher times.
Right.
But I will say to, kind of what I was saying earlier, people, I was next to my college students and they, we be out, late doing whatever we're doing. But I knew I had to go, like, Cedric, why you always dipping out early? Because I got things to do, you know. And so had I missed, I think it would have been a different story if I had a story where I missed a shift, you know, at the football club, or I went over and I wasn't able to perform my duties effectively, but there wasn't any of that because I always prioritized handling my business. But I would say that, like, I was always very intentional about putting myself in position to set myself up for where I am today.
Yeah, man. One thing I really appreciate about Mr. Ikpo here is how he's always talking about like being proactive, just getting yourself in a place, getting yourself set up for success by any means necessary. Like he was saying, like he just knew he was going to Europe. He was like, all right, let me find out something for me to do in Europe that's gonna further me, and that's just like that's what you need to have, especially as a black man in wanting to be in very what's it places that usually don't have us in them.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be very proactive and make yourself usable for them. Because if they can't use you, they're not going to take you.
Facts.
Yeah. So I really appreciate that. And all the conversations we had about that, I really appreciate that from you as well.
I appreciate it. Yeah, you know, it's an unfortunate reality, right? Like, usually when I'm talking to kids like y'all, no offense when I say kids, you know, young people
man,
like y'all, yeah,
young,
like,
man, sorry.
I have to speak that reality, and that is an unfortunate truth that we have to navigate. You know, that we do have to take extra steps, or you have to be extra courteous, extra friendly. You have to, you know, do those little things that maybe your counterparts don't have to. But it be like that, right? Like, no one's here to apologize on our behalf. Like, the people who put in the extra work, if you're a hooper, if you're a football player, whatever it is, if you spend the extra half hour at practice beforehand or after, chances are you're gonna be better than your competition. You know, also your coach is gonna see that this person is more committed. You're gonna clean up those little mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got those reps in. So that's how I saw it. And it's really panned out for me. And by no means am I, you know, where I want to be. Like, by no means am I at my end goal. You know, I'm still working. I stay intellectually curious. I stay trying to hone my craft. I stay coming to, you know, things like this, right? Like, when you reached out to me, Mr. Tau'Veaz, right? Like, one of the things I told you was like, all right, come correct. You know, I want this to be a professional experience. I have things to do. I want to make sure that you are taking my time seriously, and I feel like y'all did that. Y'all prepared well. You gave me the questions in advance. You know, I came and everything was placed perfectly. You know, so kudos to your teacher, kudos to this class, to the organization, to the whole podcast. I'm excited to, you know, go back and see the old episodes and just continue to follow moving forward, because I think you guys have a hell of an operation here.
Thanks,
Yes, sir.
So, personally, I met Cedric through Thunder Fellows, right? If you could, like, tell the audience what that is, what the organization, what it, like, stands for, and, like, how y'all manage, how y'all work.
Yeah, no doubt. So Thunder Fellows is a free after-school program for Black high school and college students. It was founded in partnership between the Oklahoma City Thunder, hence the name Thunder Fellows, and CAA. CAA is an acronym for Creative Artists Agency. So after George Floyd was murdered in Minnesota in 2020, the general manager of the Oklahoma City Thunder, Mr. Sam Presti, and his good childhood friend, Mike Johnson, who's an executive at CAA, had a conversation. Like, they reached out via text to each other, you know, two executives leading their respective organizations, you know, highly influential people in the sports and entertainment industry. We're just going back and forth. Like, how can we use our different organizations to make a change and make an impact, and a lasting impact? And through that conversation, you know, they went back and forth, and the idea behind this program was born. And so it's interesting because in my past life, when I was at the league office, the NBA league office in Manhattan in New York, my job was to make sure that I was sort of in the know and I understood all the different programs and initiatives that teams had going on, in particular, just through, like, my own personal passions, you know, specifically around a lot of the social justice related programming. And so I was aware of the idea and the concept behind the Thunder Fellows program. And it wasn't until a former teacher colleague of mine reached out to me, who lived in Tulsa, moved to Tulsa, and was like, hey, there's this program you should, you know, check out, putting your name in the hat. And I was like, I knew about the program, but it wasn't until they put that bug in my ear that I was like, okay, maybe I can, see myself in this situation.
Right.
And so that's how it happened. But I mean, at the end of the day, we work with high school and college students after school, Mondays through Thursday. Any given member of a cohort will come into our class twice a week with some different flex days. We teach a data analytics based curriculum with the goal of creating different opportunities in sports, entertainment, and technology. Reece, you talked about, being in situations where you don't see a lot of people like us, represented in sports and entertainment. It's a lot of people that you see on camera, right? That are performing as actors, as performers, entertainers, whatever. But behind the scenes, the people who are making those decisions, it doesn't reflect that makeup. So let's just say it's 70% of people that you see on the field or on the court hooping or playing ball. A lot of times in those leadership positions, the front office is the exact opposite. And same thing on the entertainment side. And so this program is intended to create avenues to expose our young people to the different jobs in these fields, so that hopefully you don't just grow up wanting to be a hooper, that you can grow up saying, I want to run a team, Right. And obviously if you want to hoop, cool, but like there's also other opportunities and avenues available. And so we just try to expose our students to that, connect them in front of the right people, polish them, give them the technical skills, but also some of those, we don't call them soft skills anymore, some of the power skills to be able to navigate these settings. When you get in front of a person, how do you interact so you're memorable, that you leave an imprint on someone, that they ultimately want to hire you, want to give you opportunities. And so it's a lot of that stuff. And then some life skills, right? Financial literacy, mental health. Just want to make sure that we're helping to produce effective members of society and people who can, contribute back to their community, but also give them opportunities to succeed in college and beyond.
Yeah, man.
So you was talking about skills, right? And you think he's a great leader, right?
I feel like he's a pretty good
I
leader,
think he's
man.
a great leader. So like, can you like tell us like your best leadership skills? Like, cause you be real humble. Shed some light on the fact that you're a great leader, man. Tell us what good leadership skills are.
I appreciate it, man. I think there's no there's no blueprint to it, I don't think. But I will say in more recent years, maybe last 5 to 7 years, something like that, I really been intentional about trying to learn from the greats, like in their field, right? Whether it's like a Tom Brady, Greg Popovich, Sam Presti, world leaders, people who've run different businesses. It's like, what do these people do? Like, what's the common denominator? Because sometimes there's a lot of people manage and lead very differently, but like there's something about these people that still get them to the top, right? And not only to the top, but there's levels. Y'all know there's levels to this, right? There's levels to the game. There's levels to success, and some people can find success in whatever space you depending on how you define it. But I think some of the things that I've taken away is you say I'm humble. I appreciate it, because my pops raised me to be that way. But at the same time, like I think I try to demonstrate humility, because I'm very observant and self-critical. So I know, like, who am I to act like I'm perfect when I know the flaws that I have. And so I think I'm more so focused on the flaws, but I'm very in tune with the things that I need to improve on. And so I lead sort of humbly and not try to put myself out there like that. I feel like my results and the work is going to speak for itself. Right. And in due time, like y'all gonna realize like what I've done, what I'm about. And I'm not going to be the person to try to like blast it to y'all, to others. Now, if you want to have a conversation, I got plenty to talk about. I'm very proud of my resume. I'm very proud of my experiences. I'm very proud of the network that I've built over time. It's a beautiful thing to go anywhere in the country, and even some different countries outside of the U.S. and have people that I can tap into, and like it's love,
Right.
And whether I've spoken to them recently, or it's been some time, like I've established strong and long-lasting relationships with people because of the work that I've done, the way that I've made people feel, the way that I've come through for people when they've needed me, the way that I've tried to put other people on. And I mean, my whole thing is, how do we elevate each other, right? There's a phrase, there's a saying says, high tide raises all ships. You know, unfortunately, in our community, oftentimes we, I don't know, fairly or unfairly, we have to like battle this crab in the barrel mentality. Right. And I don't necessarily think that's true per se, but it is a stereotype or perception that in a lot of ways is true. But like, you know, we can change the narrative, right? The cool thing about life is that every day is a new day. Every day is a new chapter. Our stories are always being written. And so no matter what happened yesterday or before, like when you wake up, you know, today's January 18th, January 18th, you know, when you wake up in the morning, it's a brand new day, right? Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to choose to do with your day? How will you right your wrongs? How will you set yourself up for January 19th, you know, and January 31st and December 31st. So I think it's about being intentional. And I just try to, at the end of the day, I think I really just try to lead by example. I can say whatever I want to say. I can say, you got to do this. This is the right way to do it. But if I don't do it, then who's going to listen to me? Right. So I really do try to live a life publicly and in private that is up to snuff with who I say I am and what I aspire for y'all to be. So I don't know. That's what I don't know.
I ain't never.
Would y'all agree with that? Or I mean, y'all I've been around y'all for some time.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay, so you got something?
Yeah,
I got a good question.
We never got into it. Who are you? Not, and this is gonna be a follow. Who are you to Thunder Fellows?
So, interesting question. I'm not sure where you're going with that. So direct me if I'm off on this. But I'm the executive director, the founding executive director for it. I have my hand in pretty much, you know, every aspect of the organization. By having my hand in doesn't necessarily mean that I am driving everything or leading every piece of it, but I do have to have a very global vision and approach to the work. So I need to know like everything that is happening to make sure that everything is in cohesion with one another, that there's a consistent voice, a consistent standard of quality, and that we're setting the program up to be sustainable for the long term. I think, you know, going back to the launch of this program back in 2020, there's a lot of programs and initiatives that started and then started to fizzle out. You know, we're seeing things being undone, like the push for Black and brown causes are, you know, it's no longer the new shiny toy, right? Yeah. And so a lot of the funding that you saw go into programs like this have started to phase. And so one of my challenges and my tasks is to make sure that we have the infrastructure and that I'm able to create a product that is dope for our students that want to be in it, that is sustainable, so that it lasts a very long time, and that it's impactful. And so we can tell success stories when I see, you know, young fellas like yourselves, you know, crisp, cleaned up, you know, like leading a podcast like this. You know, it's by no means is this. Are you here because of Thunder Fellows by itself? But I think it takes a village, and so we want to be part of the ecosystem to make sure that, you know, we're able to help our community at the end of the day.
Yeah, glad you said that, because it was just something I was thinking about. In the United States, there is 88% of African Americans have a high school diploma, but the drop off is 26 African Americans going to pursue a bachelor's degree. So can you talk about opportunities that are missed because you did not go through to college and get a degree?
So our program is very focused on what we call post-secondary success, right? So being positioned to be ready for college, not just making it to college, because I've seen many people go to college and then they're out after a semester, or they're out after a couple years, or they barely make it through, and then they end up with student debt and no diploma, or they got a diploma and they don't have connections, right? And they don't have any skills because they didn't take it seriously. So I realized, and I'm gonna be honest, college isn't for everybody. Let's just keep it a buck. College isn't for everybody. However, these days, so back in the day, it used to be you got to go to college to have any sort of like financial success. Now you can still be successful without a diploma, but like it's almost like a college diploma doesn't even set you apart like that anymore, right? That's not necessarily a push or a suggestion to not go to college, but it's almost like college diploma is almost like a high school diploma to me now. It's almost like you just got to do it. That if you want to, most there's plenty of jobs and I'm in the position of I've been hiring for a long time at Thunder Fellows and before, since I was with the Spurs. So I've probably been hiring and looking at resumes and things for the last 10 years or so. And if I don't see a college diploma on those positions, like I'm not even looking at the resume, So it's almost like a standard. It's like that's the baseline expectation for somebody. And so to hear that 26% of Black people have diplomas, that's alarming. That seems very low to me, lower than I would have guessed. But it's so important. And now on top of that, there's things like certificates and certifications that you can get to add to your marketability, right? There's experiences and internships, like there's extracurricular activities. So again, when I'm hiring people and looking through resumes, it's not just, oh, what school did you go to? Did you go to school? It's, I want to see, did this person have to juggle things, right? Did they have to you talk about resilience. Did they have to balance extracurricular activities, a part-time job, and manage? Like if they don't have a 4.0, that's fine. But if you got a 3.1 and you had 2 part-time jobs and 2 internships, and I'm like, that person is probably going to be more equipped to be successful in this role because they had to time manage, they had to balance, they had to run between things, and versus someone who had everything taken care of and they just got a 4.0 and they don't know how to talk to anybody. Right. So I think it's about telling the whole story. And college is a big domino. It's a big piece of the equation. It's not everything, but it is obviously a significant piece. And then of course there's master's degrees and other degrees and things like that. But that's how I see it.
That's pretty nice. Okay, so on a scale from 1 to 10, how successful would you say you are like right now?
Again, I'm critical, but man, so I'm 36. I'm blessed, bro. I am. So I've lost both my parents. My mom passed away when I was a freshman in college. My dad passed away in 2017. And so, I just got married this past summer, and, that was one of the, I'm a grizzly and stubborn Nigerian, by blood. And, and so I'm very in tune with my emotions, and like, I can keep it together and things like that. But it was really hard to, these days, I feel like there's a more consistently and very frequently, I'm like achieving these like life milestones that I'm like, man, like we did, you know what I'm saying? Like we out here, right? Including my marriage, including these different job opportunities that I've gotten, that I wish I could celebrate with my parents because they put in that work, they held me accountable. They had to help mold me and things. And I feel like the fruits of their labor and my labor are starting to materialize now, in a major way and very consistently. And so, I don't know, scale of 1 to 10, that's tough, but I am very, if I could go back and, look at my 18-year-old self, my junior in high school self, it probably wouldn't have, I never would have seen myself in this particular role, but, I've got some major things in place in my life. I live comfortably. I have a strong emotional support system. Um, I've got an excellent professional support system. So to me, and then I do things that I love and things that I think improve society. So a scale of 1 to 10, if we're basing it on those, that's how I define success, it's got to be. I mean, to be honest, man, like 8+,
Ooh,
8+,
you
yeah,
got a wife.
yeah, man, wife,
Hey,
dog.
I ain't saw the shoes, but
Hey, man, y'all.
hey.
I-
Ooh.
Yeah, I've been I don't want to call myself. I never call myself a sneakerhead, but I've always liked.
No, don't let
Uh,
it.
I
Don't get don't get on here and get
PV,
some
bro. He
wine,
got
man.
like
I don't use
he
that
got
term.
like
That's what I'm
100
saying.
plus shoes.
But
like,
I've been like, back. I don't know if y'all know about the East Bay magazines back in the day.
back in the day.
Yeah, man, I only know about StockX.
They used to send out these monthly magazines. This is back when I was like middle school and stuff, and I would study those. I mean, I used to love sneakers. I knew the name of every shoe, the prices, all that. And so I didn't really have the opportunity or the access to resources to be able to get those things. And so like over time, as I start to, start a career and things, I've accumulated shoes. I take care of my stuff. So like some of the things that y'all see, I've had stuff on ice for a long time that I can keep my shoes for, 6 to 8 years oftentimes. So a lot of stuff that you see isn't necessarily brand new. It's stuff that I've rotated and I've accumulated over the last like 10 years. So I have a healthy stock of shoes. Let's just say that. But yeah, man, we out here.
All right. Before we wrap, I just would like to say I think that's the definition of a sneakerhead.
Yeah, like what is he
I
talking
think that's
about?
the baseline definition of a
fair.
sneakerhead. But let's end with this one. There's a saying, and I'm sure you've said it to me before. It's not about what you know; it's about who you know. So, how can you tell us about why building relationships with people who are in the fields that you want to be in or do what you want to do is so important?
So I will clarify that statement in that it's true, yes. But at the end of the day, who you know gets you in the door, but what you know like gives you the opportunity or helps you maintain it, right? Who you know can get you get you a job, but if you don't know what you're meant to know for the role, you'll be exposed. The truth will always come to light, and you'll be out the door. You'll get that pink slip real quick, or over time. So it's a lot about who you know, and then you can also be successful by not knowing people, right? Like I didn't know anybody in the sports industry, but 14 years later, it's a completely different story, right? So now I know a lot of people, and it's not about just who you know, right? It's I have actual relationships, genuine relationships with people, and those relationships have helped open doors for me personally, but also for my colleagues, for people that I have made connections with on their behalfs. And then Thunder Fellows program, let's be honest, a lot of the experiences and things that we're able to make happen are thanks in large part to me being able to pick up the phone, reach out to somebody, and they pick up my calls. They respond to my texts because we have a relationship, because they know what I'm about, they know what I stand for. I've been 10 toes down, and I've tried to be consistent. I think that's another key thing is I've always been consistent with myself and with my colleagues and peers in this industry. So, yeah, man, it's a blessing to be able to reach out to different people. And so, for example, y'all know where the All-Star game is? It's going to be the NBA All-Star game.
Isn't it in Houston?
No, it'll be in Indianapolis.
Oh,
So
really?
I went to school in Indiana, and I went to college in Indiana.
Yeah.
And the All-Star game is in Indianapolis. So it's kind of a homecoming for me, right? College-wise, I got some friends out there.
Oh,
and then also those are my old people at the league office.
Right.
So
Yeah.
like you don't just stumble upon like All-Star game tickets, So take my wife up there. We're gonna experience it. Give her a chance to go out and see my old stomping grounds in Indiana, and then also be able to see my people in Indy as they do their thing for the All-Star game. At this time, I don't got to work the 18, 20-hour days. I can go as a guest and enjoy the experience, and so. But that's because of the relationships. It's like that. Like, I mean, my life is just a series of being able to cash in on things on favors that I do because I want to,
Right.
not because I do this and you owe me. I do it because I want to. It'll always come back around, and so, that's just an example of that. But at the end of the day, your standard is what is really your calling card. And if people have reached out to you and you drop the ball or you don't deliver to the extent that you say you will or whatever, then those your Rolodex and those contacts start to fade. But fortunately, mine have been very strong and continue to grow.
It was a pleasure having you here, man.
Really
Is there
good.
any wrap up thoughts where they could contact you if they feel me need you or something?
I appreciate it. You check us out at thunderfellows.org. Join our mailing list if you want to learn more and keep up with what we have going on. Follow us at Thunder Fellows across all platforms. We highlight our students in our programming. Highlight our alumni like y'all. But yeah, we have a lot of great stuff going on. We're 3 years in. We're still very new. We're not perfect, but we're continuing to get better, and we're intentional about that. So yeah, and I appreciate. It's been a pleasure for me as well to have this conversation with y'all. At Crossover, you guys were one of the first stops that we made when we did the surprise announcements 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, man.
And now we're in this new building. Y'all got we got the red lunch tables. Tau'Veaz, you got the red polo choked up, button to the top. You got the 3. You got the red. This is a excellent setup, and it's just cool to see growth and progress. Life's about progress,
Right.
and so it's a pleasure to see you guys continue to mature, and I'm excited to see where you end up.
We really appreciate you coming on with us today, man. It was great. And it's gonna wrap for today's episode. Now roll our theme music.